Need that. That's for other people.
That's right.
Yeah.
Hey guys, how's it going? Honore, Jeff, how are you? Everyone's happy, healthy,
Living the dream.
Living the
living
dream.
the dream.
I don't have a job and I'm not laying bricks today. So
Mm. Yeah, if my dad's watching this, he's gonna get all excited because you mentioned laying bricks, and then he's gonna show up at your house and do that.
well,
So-
we are putting in steps before the thing next weekend for from the house to the fire pit.
oh
Yeah, I can actually hear the weed eater
gosh,
right now.
Byron's work list is non-stop.
Yeah, I'm a taskmaster. Although I have to say, before we introduce Jeff, did I tell you what I did to him with the mulch?
Oh, what you did to Byron? Yeah, it's terrible,
Yeah,
but please
what
share.
I said.
I think I called you a bad name after this story.
So Jeff, we're having this thing that I just told you about. You're more than welcome to come. And my husband's been doing like beautification projects around our property, and so he had gone and gotten. I want to say he told me it was 4,000 pounds of mulch. Now yesterday, because he was like, I heard you telling the story. He's like, make sure you mention it was 4,000 pounds of mulch. So he had carved out an area, put railroad ties and stones around its big area. It's like 800 square feet. And then he put some topsoil on it and then some mulch over top of it. Hi, I'm a woman. I don't care what color the mulch is. He had called me and said, can you come out? I got the mulch. I think the mulch is a little dark. And I'm like, it's mulch. Looks amazing. Good job. Right? So I'm leaving for an appointment. It's been a super long day. And I'm backing out next to the mulch, and I just kind of look at it. And he and my father-in-law were standing there, and they've like done all of this work. And I said, I think the mulch is a little dark. Can we change it? And they just stood there and looked at me. And of course, I'm laughing hysterically because it's hysterically funny. That was a funny joke. But he's like, you do know I have a pocket knife on me at all times. I can't cut you.
Yeah.
So anyway, just jokes, everybody. Just jokes.
That's the kind of thing that a Netflix series are made of. You're gonna end up in this.
I'm gonna end up behind the woodshed, right? Like he built this very sexy woodshed, during which I was extremely helpful.
Yes.
I was.
I definitely did not get any. Go ahead, Jeff.
I can promise you that my wife would care about the color of the mulch.
Okay.
Very, very much so.
Wait.
Yes. So we have Renee. Hi, Renee.
Yeah. Hello.
And we have Wayne. You're in Florida. Wayne, welcome back.
Wayne is. Yeah, he's usually in Egypt.
He's usually in Egypt.
Yes.
All right.
Florida feels like it's right next door, doesn't it?
I know. I feel like it's like, come on over, come for lunch, because you're like not in Egypt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wayne.
Well, why would your wife care about the color of the mulch? I suppose that's a thing.
Yeah, I mean, because we haven't had a similar experience, but we did have to buy mulch, and the color was very important. So, and I was kind of on the opposite. I said, you just pick the mulch out, you tell me what you want, and I'll spread it. I don't care.
Yeah. It's a good husband right there.
Yeah. Well, no, he wanted a lighter mulch. And then I was discussing this with Brianna, and Brianna said, "Oh, I like black mulch because it makes the green pop." And I was like, these are things I had never considered and will still never consider. I'm still ambivalent on the color of the mulch. I didn't even care that there was mulch. Right? He wanted this whole situation. You'll see it, Lucas, because it's happened since the last time you were here. But he wanted this whole area carved out and looking nice. And I'm just like, that's wonderful. I'll be inside.
I'm locking all of this away for my first comment about the color of the mulch when I see him. Because inevitably Byron and I'll be standing there with a drink in our hands and he'll be like, man, this has been a good day. And I'm going to say, yeah, got to ask you a question. What's up with the mulch?
What's up with the mulch color?
Everything else looks great, but I can't get around the mulch. It's like,
so I will remind you that he does have a very big chainsaw now. So
And he's a very large human. So
he's a very large human. So I'm just gonna say, like, for your own protection, like I don't think he would really put me behind the woodshed, but I think you might be on the bubble, Lucas. So.
yeah, no, I'm far less safe in this situation than you are. You know, there's a lot more to lose when it comes to your spouse than just some random guy hanging out commenting on your mulch.
Make sure everyone's around, and maybe he's had some crawfish already.
Yeah.
Make sure he's like had a couple of, because then he'll think it's funny. Oh, a couple of old fashions. Lucas is choking, like so
holding
funny.
pictures of my children, my dear children.
Yeah. Don't kill me, I'm a dad.
Yeah, I have mouths to feed.
I have mouths to feed.
So
I'm
Jeff,
more alive than dead.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, at least
Jeff
least
is like,
them.
what is happening? Why am I?
Yeah, poor Jeff.
Who are these?
I'm enjoying
people?
the show.
Yeah. He's like, yeah,
enjoying the show. I got some popcorn in the microwave over here.
You should definitely be eating popcorn right now. That'd be good. Then I'm gonna have to eat popcorn. This isn't gonna work.
I don't have any.
So Jeff is, a guest here for a very specific reason, and that is because he's freaking awesome. And we only have freaking awesome people on here. And Matt, I don't know if Mohawk Matt Denny is watching.
I know, and if he is, he needs to comment. Also,
yeah,
I know Matt Mohawk Denny, and I want to say that it took Jeff to get him here. So
yeah,
we won't be insulted by that at all.
So we both know Matt. I was wearing his
t-shirt.
T-shirt.
Not pissing me off even a little bit. I'm not even a little bit bitter about that. Nope. Thanks, Jeff. Thanks for coming so that Matt would not come and see me and Lucas. He's coming to see you. That's fine. It's cool.
He jumps on. He's like, oh, I'm definitely going to check this one out. I was just talking about email marketing. And I'm like, dude, we've known each other for.
Yeah, we're friends for a long time, but okay, it's fine. Whatever. So Jeff, I recently discovered you because Lucas made a comment on one of your LinkedIn posts, and then that caused me to go down the rabbit hole and immediately loved past tense in that moment, currently love your messaging of just like, hey, don't go on a first date and be terrible. Although you didn't really expand on what the terrible first date was, but I have a book called Business Dating, and in my book I talk about how people on a first date in business are very often like equating to personal dating, like, hey, you're kind of hot, you want to get out of here, right? Which is like asking for the sale in the first 2 seconds. Like, who do you know that would like to write a book or build a course with their book? And you're just like, hey, I think I like you. Like, so far so good, but I don't know if you're like, if you like collect feet in a jar or you're actually a really good, solid professional. So like, I would like to discern that before I open my network to you. So really appreciate the way you approach email marketing and relationship building. And I have all the questions in the world. Lucas, why don't you maybe say a few more words, because I interrupted you. I'm more excited than Matt Mohawk Denny about this conversation, for the record.
Well, I met Jeff through, brace yourselves, people, Twitter, right? So Jeff and I were
underrated.
Connected. Yeah, it's going crazy, right? So we met on Twitter and immediately kind of hit it off as like just two normal people in the madness on Twitter who actually like care about relationships and people. And so automatically, I liked his message. I liked the way we communicated. And I said, I need help with road mapping, right? Because I've had this on my checklist here and I'm not able to do it. First of all, I believe heavily in getting a third opinion on anything critical in my business. So I never just trust myself with everything. And I think that anyone who is running a business should have experts in their fold that help them at least check that what they're doing is legit if they don't want to have someone actually do it for them. But I actually needed someone to step in and give me guidance and help me with this area. Because even though I write, and even though I work with course development, and even though I work with all these spaces, I am not an expert on email marketing by any stretch of the imagination. So when I met Jeff, he checked all the boxes for personality, expertise, approach, everything. And then I had the joy of working with him on my project. And it was a fantastic experience. And, you know, in true Sicilian fashion, I'm like, once you're in the family, you're in. So whether you like it or not, I'm going to talk about you every 5 seconds on social media and stuff.
Yeah.
And so I was very, very much impressed with Jeff's approach to email marketing. And so he's my go-to guy for email marketing now. So Jeff, not to make this awkward, but there's your big intro. I hope you can I hope you can enjoy the rest of your time.
Well, at least it was genuine. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
No, thanks.
It was
thanks for having me.
terrible, but it was genuine.
Yeah.
Look, is that the fire alarm?
That was-
I have to go.
Yeah.
That was the best intro I've ever got.
There you
Thank
go.
you, Lucas.
You're
Yeah,
welcome.
No, it was an honor to work with you. It was really good. And I think that, you know, what I kind of gathered from what you just said and our work together and, you know, just all the conversations we've had is very similar to a lot of the people that I work with or encounter, in that maybe they do know a little bit about email marketing, but they want to do it differently, right? Like they want to stand out in the inbox by just being a little more human or being normal and not buy my stuff, you know,
Right.
Russian, hey, you want to get out of here? You know, people want to do it a little bit differently. And that's really kind of what we talked a lot about in our project. Was, you know, I mean, you're more than capable of doing this stuff yourself, and you even have somebody who does it, you know, for you for the most part, but it's just how do I kind of create those relationships and you know, a good feeling for my subscribers.
Right. And you were really focused on that, which is one of the reasons why I thought it was good to have you on the project, because you knew what the approach I was looking for. And this is what I usually see people looking for, right? I almost never see someone saying, hey, anyone know like a really salesy person I could talk to that would make me come across uncomfortably in all my email messaging, right? It's like, of course, everyone's looking for the right thing, but I think it's sometimes hard for people to push the I believe button because they think they have to do what they've experienced from other people that are, you know, and you and I actually, I think, fell into the same network because of Justin Welsh, right? We were both following Justin Welsh, and we both commented on how we liked his approach.
Sure.
Yeah,
that's the thing. You know, a lot of the approach for, you know, service providers or course creators or, you know, consultants or freelancers or whatever, somebody that offers a service for a living, or, you know, maybe sells, you know, I don't know the word, but more of a high ticket course, not like a $47 course or something.
Right.
Somebody who, you know, sells that, the approach to email marketing is way different than what we're taught, you know, on the internet, what we're taught from a Google search,
or from experts.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, you know, and I think that that's really kind of like, it paralyzes a lot of people. Like they say, okay, well, like, I don't know how to do that, or I don't want to do it that way because that's kind of gimmicky. And I just want to, you know, be normal and, you know, lead with value and focus on trust and lead people logically to my offers, instead of, you know, all the gimmicky kind of approach. So I, you know, sum it all up, like I think that what you experience is what a lot of people feel.
Right. All right, Honore. I know you're like, you've got a list of questions, things that, because right now you and I are
What
both.
do you mean?
Honore and I are both like in the process of revising a lot of our email marketing.
Yeah.
Not just welcome email sequences, but sequences attached to certain products and just are, you know, lead magnets, everything. So yeah, there's a little context on why, you know, this is so relevant for us and timely. But the reality is it's constant, right? It never really stops. Those emails work for you non-stop. So Honore, what are you experiencing right now? Like, what's going on with your world of work related to this?
Well, before I comment on that, I want to say that I think, to the point that you both were just making, is there are an awful lot of people who are like, let me teach you closing techniques. Let me teach you things to say. And now I feel like when I'm talking to one of those people, I might as well be talking to AI. Because if I wanted to have like if they say this, then say this conversation, I would talk to a computer. I wouldn't want to talk to a person. And one of the reasons that I have resisted email marketing is because it feels very internet markety. And I'm a relationship person. I'm an attractor, not a recruiter. So I feel like one of the things that Byron said taught me that I embraced when we were first dating, which goes back to the why didn't I kiss him on the first date? Because he was like, why didn't you kiss me on the first date? And I was like, because I might have kissed someone on a first date before and I'm single, so it didn't work out. And he said, you can't do the wrong thing with the right person, and you can't do the right thing with the wrong person. Someone's going to like you, they're going to like you. If someone's not going to like you, they're not going to like you. So just be your authentic self right out of the gate. And I thought that was very appropriate. But all of the approaches that I have ever seen to anything have always been, if they say this, then say this. And this is how you close. And like, it's just an objection. And here's how you overcome objections. And I'm like, I hate that. I just want to have a conversation with someone and see if I can help them. And I've not ever been able to really apply that to my email marketing because it feels like it's a little bit of if this, then that kind of thing. So what I'm experiencing in my business is I see other people with inferior information doing more than I'm doing.
Right.
And that's a frustration. I see people saying, oh, you can just write and publish a book in 10 minutes and it's going to be fine. You don't need to edit it. You don't need a good cover.
What does that have to do with anything, right?
What does that have to do with it? What can possibly go wrong?
Don't worry about quality. We'll just put that in the closet.
Right. And so I think that there is to be transparent, I think it's always a work in progress. There's always a gap. And I've been interested in figuring out how to develop that relationship with people in a relationship building way through email marketing and putting those together. And I keep asking myself the question because I always challenge my assumptions, which is if I think that there's no way to do it, then I have to do it. It's the old Tony Robbins, if I can't, I must. Right. And so I challenge my assumptions. It's like, can I build a relationship with people and bring them into the circle of trust and let them know that I'm the person with the best information with their best interest in mind for the long term. And I care about them without throwing anyone else under the bus. Right. So that's been the question that I've been asking myself. And so Lucas and I in this partnership of the Empire Builders Masterclass have been working through this. So when I saw him comment on your thing, it was like, oh, well, there's no accidents, right? It can always be better. My sequences can always be better. My relationship building can always be better. My numbers can always be better. And so what's the path to that?
Yeah. Yeah. You know, the thing that you said that really kind of sticks out to me is, well, two things really. One is I met recently with somebody kind of on a discovery call or sales call, and we talked a little bit about my philosophy. Really, I told her, about the same kind of process I took Lucas through, and I could see on the call that it just didn't really connect with her. Like she couldn't really, it didn't really make sense. And she does some email marketing, but for her, it was all about like the next launch or the next pre-sale and the next special offer or whatever it is. And so there's this constant churn of we got to get pump more people in, or we got to get change up the emails, and so it's just this constant not only is it this constant churn of like we're just selling, and so we have to get new people to sell to, and we're converting at these crazy low rates, but it gets really old to the people who get those emails. You know? And I want to say to those people sometimes like, well, what about the customer experience? Like, what about turning those customers into raving fans, or maybe having another offer above the offer they bought, and leading them logically to that offer as the next step in the journey for them. And so there's a lot of things. Email is just a tool, right? Like you can use it however you want to. You can just say, what is the goal that we want to achieve? How do I need to lead somebody from this point to that goal? And can I do that with email? If you can, then use it.
Right. Well, I did write down a couple of questions for sure. One of them is something that occurred to me in the wee hours of the morning. And it's because I've unsubscribed from the same list a whole bunch of times, and it occurred to me that perhaps the unsubscribe button is not what it appears to be. Is it possible that the unsubscribe button could just be, I really love being on your list, Ann Taylor, and so is there some, I'm sure there has to be some law, right? That it's like, if people want to unsubscribe, they unsubscribe, but could it possibly be that the unsubscribe button is really not the unsubscribe button?
You know, I unsubscribed from 2 things this week, and both of them said, please please allow like 48 hours.
Right.
Or,
is that a real thing?
I mean, when somebody unsubscribes from my list, they're gone. So I don't.
Right.
So
why
don't
do
really.
they need 48 hours?
Yeah, I don't get that. And I've even seen somebody shared a screenshot on Twitter months ago that it was like, please allow up to 7 business days or something like that for you to be fully removed from our sequence. And it just, there was a whole thread on this picture or the screenshot of like, give me a break. Seriously? Like, that's so. And
they
then,
want you to forget.
Really,
maybe they want you to forget you unsubscribed. Like, did I really unsubscribe? Because maybe I didn't.
One thing that really frustrates me, and this is something I still have not unsubscribed from this list, is when I want to unsubscribe from this list from my phone, from Gmail on my phone. I subscribed to them 5 or 6 years ago when it was relevant to what I was doing at the time. It's no longer relevant at all. I mean, it's not anywhere in the sphere. So I want to unsubscribe, but when I click unsubscribe, it makes me like log into my account. Well, I haven't logged in like 5 years, so I don't know what it is. And so like, it's just been this endless cycle. Like every few months, I'm like, oh, I'm going to unsubscribe. Oh wait, I can't. Oh my gosh, this is so annoying. And so I tell people, at least once or twice in some of my sequences, hey, if you don't want to receive these emails, the unsubscribe button is right there. No hard feelings.
Yep.
Right. If you don't want to write a book, then you don't need to subscribe, because that's all I talk about. All books, all the time, and everything about books, book marketing, book monetization. Yeah. That's all I talk about. I just want to make you rich with your book. But if that's not interesting to you, Ann Taylor will put you on their list and you can never get off.
Yeah. Oh, it's the worst.
So interesting. So Wayne asked a great question. Face-to-face, it's much easier for a prospective client to determine if you are genuine. How do you achieve that in email marketing? I'm sure you have a great answer, Jeff.
Yeah, there's 2 things. One is to just write like you speak, right? Very simply, ditch the, kind of corporate business jargon. Just write like you talk. I think that goes a long way in actually kind of communicating that you are a real person, you value connection. There's 3 things, actually. I just thought of another one. The second thing is to ask for replies, to turn email into a 2-way street. A lot of people I've even had conversations with potential clients who see email as a 1-way street. They don't like it because it's a 1-way street where I'm just talking at people all the time. And the easy get around is to turn it into a 2-way street. Ask questions and make it easy for people to engage with you and reply to you. In my approach to welcome emails, I immediately get people used to replying to my emails by asking them a very simple question and then giving them a multiple choice answer and say, reply A, B, or C. And that's it. Or reply with the emojis. 2 emojis yeah. It's a very easy reply. It's setting the bar very low, and it kind of starts to turn email into a 2-way street, into a conversational piece. So that's number 2. Number 3 is to include videos, to include short videos. That is by far, video kind of expedites that know, like, and trust factor. And so anywhere I can now, I'm, including a short little video. I'm doing it for, if I'm running a special offer, I'm doing it just to, make an announcement, anything. So those are three ways I would say, to show somebody that you're genuine.
Jeff, you just had a guest, or you guest spoke somewhere about that topic, right? Aren't they about using video?
The last newsletter I put out on Tuesday. I interviewed a video creator, editor, I forget exactly what she goes by, but yeah, we talked all about video and email.
Yeah, it's perfect. And I really like the touch on video there, because I feel it really, it's a crossover for my industry, obviously, with training, where people are so heavily dependent on video as a means of providing information, but they discount it when it comes to things like email, right? They just don't put the
Yeah.
two products in the same spot in their head. So it's really cool to hear about that effectiveness in email.
One more thing about the video real quick.
Mhm.
I was writing a welcome sequence for a client in 2021, I think. And they were a pretty well-known business coach in the Pacific Northwest. They had a few different locations. And I was sitting down with the owner of the company and a couple of the coaches, the other coaches that were in the company. And as we were planning through the journey in the welcome sequence, the journey that we were going to create, we started to talk about their existing sales process. That's part of the writing a good welcome sequence is not creating something out of thin air, out of some idea that you got off the internet, but actually kind of mirroring what you're doing in real life that's working. And so, when we started talking about their sales process, they said, well, before the pandemic, we used to go to a lot of networking events, and we got a lot of clients from networking events. And it's because we could build that, face to face, genuine kind of relationship with people. And it led to, a lot. It was very, very fruitful for us. And that's something we really miss, is to be able to do that. So we used a video in one of the emails. We had Ted, the owner of the company, record a short video, and he just very genuinely said, very transparently said, hey, before the pandemic, we used to do a lot of trade shows or networking events, and we really missed that. We really missed the face to face. So I wanted to make a quick video here and just introduce myself, tell you who I am, tell you why I started the company, and I'd love to hear from you. You don't have to record a video, but just let me know. Tell me a little bit about your business and why you started it. And so they used, again, email is just a tool, and they wanted to use it to kind of recreate some of those interactions that they were having pre-pandemic. Now, I mean, it's never going to be exactly the same, of course.
Sure.
But I mean, you do the best you can with what you have,
That's a great way to warm your list back up.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, that's a good idea. I need to write that down.
Hurry up, where's the pen? You're giving me ideas. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm gonna have to use that with these partnership.
Yeah. So several questions on the videos. Does it make sense? And I know this is what you do for a living. I also know you have the same philosophy. It's like, give it all away, right? The do-it-yourselfers are not going to hire you. So we want people to hire you from having this conversation. My idea that I just had would be, do you believe in the double opt-in? And if someone gets the success page, right? So you say, okay, I want to get Honore's newsletter. When you go to the success page, does it make sense to have the video there? Or is it after they've opted in and they get the autoresponder? Or if it could be on the success page, then could the first video that they get, could it be like one of your best customers? Because I know my friend Jeffrey Gittimer's like, social proof is really awesome. So if I had someone who loves my emails, like I have a girlfriend of mine who's like, she's one of my best friends, but she's like, every morning I get my coffee and I read your email. Like, it's my favorite thing. Could I have her do a video that says that goes to my new subscribers? Like, you're going to love this newsletter you're going to get every day. And is that better than a video by me, or is it still me and then her later in the sequence? Or does it really matter?
The longer I'm in marketing, the more my answer to everything becomes, it depends. Right.
Okay. Yes.
And so
my favorite
I don't think that there is one better than the other. I mean, I think they're both perfectly fine. I think it's a very human touch to have a video of yourself, because somebody is subscribing to your newsletter to hear from you. And so, it's a nice touch for somebody to see your face. And, again, if you're writing like you talk and they see a video where you're talking and then they, read your emails moving forward, they're going to start hearing you say that because they've heard you talk. And so there's a lot to me, just kind of on the, the relational psychological level there. That being said, like a video from a video testimonial is also a good play. Maybe not for the very first email, but definitely at some point
Later in the
it's a very good.
sequence.
Yeah, it's a good thing to do. Now, regarding the double opt-in, there are different schools of thought there. You can get around the double opt-in, but you know, you run the risk of kind of having your list get messy, I guess, with a lot of people who would bounce or not really engage with your content, which affects your deliverability. So now you can work around that and create some complicated or automations to, you know, if somebody doesn't interact within this amount of time, then you can boot them from the sequence, or you can move them to this sequence and try to warm them back up. And, you know, there's a lot you could do. So for the sake of complexity, I just leave the double opt-in there. You do, you know, lose a few subscribers, but, you know, the way I see it, if somebody truly actually wants to receive your content, they're going to go confirm with the email there. And then, you know,
Right.
When they get that next email, which is the welcome email that says, hey, welcome aboard, that's where I typically would include a video, because it gets people trained to expect a certain kind of quality or a certain kind of content when they open your emails.
Okay, cool.
So if you put that video on, you know, the thank you page or success page or whatever, you know, it's missing an opportunity to, you know, kind of train people, I guess, with your email content, if that makes sense.
Definitely.
You know,
because we want when people see our name in the inbox, we want them to say, oh, this is like your friend. Oh, this is Honore. I know that what she sent me is going to be good. And there might even be, you know, a fun little video in it, you know.
Okay, well, I haven't done that.
That's what we want when people
I haven't done that yet, but Lucas has me trained to do video.
must do video.
Let's do video.
You know,
Video is king. Video is king.
Yeah,
Blah,
video
blah,
is
blah.
king. Marino. I was going to say that some systems will not fully appreciate your email without the double opt-in. So depending on the type of system you're using, depends on sometimes whether your email is as deliverable and performs as well with or without the double opt-in. It's getting tighter because people are actually have a voice now with complaining against these things. It used to be back in the day, they just, you know, kind of stuck you in the trash box, but now they can make complaints. At least within my CRM, I can see if there's a complaint, which, by the way, there's never any complaints, of course, but if I ever get them, by the way, they're out of here, because I'm like, why would you sign? Did my complaint not get through? No, as soon as I see yours, I just hit delete. No, I'm just kidding. But to me, that person's not exhibiting, like, to your point, Jeff, they're not exhibiting the right behavior for the list anyway. You know, I've had people that actually paid hundreds of dollars for a course and then have opted out of the email sequences that come with my brand. And by the way,
which is crazy, right?
I only email like once every 1 to 2 weeks. So I know it's not like I'm overwhelming them with email, which Jeff's going, what are you doing? You should be emailing more than that. But that person, to me, I'm like, good. It's good to know that.
Yeah. For sure.
They shouldn't be on my list.
For sure.
Yes. Are you?
There is nothing wrong with unsubscribes. Yep. People are afraid of unsubscribes. And I even, like, sometimes when I look at, you know, like what's happening with my list and I say, oh my gosh, I got 4 unsubscribes today. Like, inside, I start panicking and I'm like, wait a minute. I didn't really want them on the list anyway. Like, they're not the right fit. So good riddance.
I told Honore I reward myself with that. This is going to sound like a bad thing, but I have to like find my motivations sometimes with things that are administrative in my business. And if I see someone unsubscribe, it gives me a task that gives me something that I can check off my list. And that's, I can go remove that person from the contacts list. And I had to like figure out how to feel good about that, because I used to really sweat that. I'd be like, oh man, I'm losing somebody. What did I do to cause them to want to leave? Now I'm like, oh, good. I can keep my list down, right? Like I can trim it up and keep it healthy. And I kind of equate it to, like, I've got all these trees outside of my house, and every year my mom comes and visits and yells at me about not trimming the trees because it makes it for a healthier tree. And like, I'm like, if I'm not trimming my email list isn't as healthy without
Yeah.
keeping the right people on the list and making sure that the other
Mhm.
people aren't there if they don't want to be, because it doesn't do me any good if they don't want to receive it and they're getting it
Well, and
anyway.
you're paying for them as well.
Yeah, which I had to get around that as well, because once I went over my threshold on my account, I was like, you know, but then I was like, oh, this is a good problem to have when it's the right lists, right? I'm okay with paying that money if the right people are on there, but
Yes,
Exactly.
out with the
Yeah.
old and with the new. So what is your school of thought on the email every day program? Are you an email every day person, or is it an it depends based on the audience?
It depends on based on the audience and the context.
Okay.
So I have instances where some people on my list get 1 email a week when they subscribe to the newsletter, like you, Honore. You subscribe to my newsletter, Human Sending Emails. The only emails you'll really ever get from me are on Tuesday mornings, aside from an occasional announcement or something that is kind of relevant. But there are times where so I have an email marketing checklist as my lead magnet, and people actually get, when they opt in for that, they get an email a day for 26 days. And I tell them that in the welcome email, in the very first email they get, I say, hey, look, here's what you're going to get. It's an email a day for 26 days. I just tell them up front, if you don't want it, that's totally cool. But here's why I'm doing it, because the checklist I gave you has 26 points on it. And each day I'm going to break down every single one of those points from the checklist. And I get surprisingly very few unsubscribes from that sequence, because
Right.
people know what to expect. So
And they want all
I was
26
transparent.
things.
Well, and if it's something that they're looking forward to, if and this is where I was going, is if the content is there's no such thing as too short or too long, too frequent, too infrequent. If the content is valuable, doesn't matter, right? So, like I said, if people are looking forward to that content showing up in the inbox, they're not going to mind getting an email a day from you. But if it's a constant barrage of sales or buy my stuff, or just useless stuff, then that's when people are going to really not want to be on your list.
So when did they get, and you need to tell Lucas what the URL is so he can add it to the comments, because I want to be on that. I want to get those 26 things. I also want to get emails 1 through 7, because I got email number 8 and then I immediately was like, my fear of missing out, like my FOMO kicked in, and I was like, where are emails number 1 through 7? Right.
Oh, the newsletter.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, hold on. I missed numbers 1 through 7. So
I do this as well.
But when does the nurture sequence happen? Because I just created an 8-day write your book challenge, email challenge, as a new lead magnet. But then I got in my head about, when does the nurture sequence begin? Is it after the 8 days is over? Is it concurrent? Like, you're going to get this information that's going to help you write your book, but also you're going to get the nurture sequence. It's like, here's a little about me. I'm going to have a sexy new video now. Not actually sexy. It's just going to be a video. Settle down. That's a different channel, everybody.
Tell Byron to watch this.
Byron will be like, what? I don't know what she's doing.
You should promise that and just send them a video of Byron cutting the grass.
Right, on the tractor?
Yeah.
Yes, he likes to play the country songs that go with the work he does. Like, does this tractor make me look sexy? And also, will you check me for ticks? Right? So we have like a whole playlist around the
Check me for ticks.
These are all country songs, everybody, in case you're in like a metropolitan area. They're real songs. Consult the Google. So when does the nurture sequence happen? Is it concurrent? Is it after? What's the answer there? Because I'm stuck.
What do you mean by nurture sequence? What how would you define a nurture sequence? Because that's a term that I think is not very well understood by a lot of people.
Well, probably this person. I'm probably one of the people that doesn't understand it. My understanding is when someone opts into my list, they need to get a series of emails. I'm just calling that the nurture sequence. That's like, hey, a little about me. Like that whole respond with the 2 emojis. And then there's another email that says, a little about me, and this is what I'm going to teach you. You're going to get the emails,
Gotcha.
Right? Kind of that. And then
Yeah.
at some
So-
point they need to go on to that regular email list. So I just want to make sure that I'm doing it effectively.
Yeah. So when somebody opts in for my lead magnet, the checklist, now the link that Lucas posted there is directly to the newsletter. The newsletter and the checklist are both facets of email marketing, but they're separate. They're separate assets within email marketing. So when
Okay.
somebody downloads my checklist, they immediately start my nurture sequence. I call it a welcome sequence.
Okay.
That's kind of the way that I've coined that. And it does all the things that you mentioned. It kind of introduces yourself. It builds some trust, leads with a ton of value, positions your offer as the next logical step for people. That's what a welcome sequence is, and it should happen immediately after somebody downloads a lead magnet. But if somebody,
But are they getting
somebody
the
opts
26 emails
Mhm.
and then the welcome sequence, or are they getting them simultaneously?
The 26 emails is the welcome sequence.
So my 8-day write your book challenge should actually be.
Well, that's like a product. That's kind of like a
That's
unique
like
challenge.
so the 8-day write your book challenge, is that free?
Yes.
That's a lead magnet. Yeah.
Right. So does it
So
include
it's an email course. Yeah.
So does it include the welcome?
No, for you. So yeah, I would have that. So yeah. So think about it this way. So the 8-day write your book challenge is your lead magnet. That is an asset.
Yep.
And then after that, you want to have a plan to lead somebody to the next step in the journey. Now, you probably don't need to do a full welcome sequence. And for the record, by the way, most welcome sequences are not 26 emails.
Right.
I just did that because it's, it made sense with my offer. So,
Right.
You can marry that 8-day challenge and kind of tackle some of the things that typically need to be, done in a welcome sequence. And at the end of that, that audience is going to be warm, and you can present an offer in a very natural way, and people are going to be ready to buy it. I just recently had a client do that very thing. She's a leadership consultant. She, and the idea that we came up with for her lead magnet was a delegation checklist, because that's something that her ideal client really struggled with. They're new, emerging leaders. And so that was something they would find really valuable. So they downloaded that. And then the next 5 days, they got an email a day from her. And each one had a short little video clip and a little bit of a lesson in the email copy that taught them an element of becoming a new leader, how to establish yourself as a leader. And at the end of that, on the 6th email, so I guess it would be the 7th email in total, she just presented an offer. She talked about the challenge, and they went through that course, the 5 days, of her trust leadership method or whatever it was. And after that, she made an offer. And just the other day, somebody scheduled a call with her and bought her 6-month coaching package.
Nice.
So you don't necessarily, need to have, this, email course, and then a welcome sequence to follow it. You can kind of marry some of those elements. Look, a welcome sequence, the only goal is to build trust, lead with value, kind of create a relationship, like make them feel like they know, like, and trust you, so that when you get ready to present an offer, they're warmed up to buy.
Okay.
And you could do that in a myriad of different ways. And it sounds like your email course is already doing a lot of that. So you could just kind of tack on at the end of that 8 days another email and tell them what the next step in the journey is.
Okay. Perfect. And then I can make an offer, give them a code or something for the course that I have.
Yeah.
So I don't
sure.
need
And
a
make that
second
next step for
email
them.
sequence that I have already been pulling my
No.
hair out to write. Awesome.
The only reason you would need a second welcome sequence is if you had another, like if you had a delegation checklist, or like if you had a write and publish your own book checklist. If you created an asset like that, then you would want to create a sequence on the back end of that download, on the back end of that asset, to then help them use it, help them get familiar with it, and then position you as, the authority, and, you have the next step in mind for them.
Okay. Excellent.
Does that make sense on the
Yeah.
difference there?
Yeah, definitely. I can just
Okay.
add in some of the elements and then I'm good to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And if somebody subscribes to my newsletter, so, if you subscribe to Human Sending Emails,
I love
you
that.
don't get any kind of a welcome sequence. You don't get any kind of a welcome
Right.
sequence. You get a welcome email that says, "Hey, here's what to expect." But what I really try to do is to be transparent with people and give them exactly what they're expecting. If somebody signs up for my newsletter to get an email every Tuesday, I'm not going to send them 5 emails, right off the bat, because that's not what they're looking for. That's not why they signed up. They signed up to get an email every Tuesday, and that's all they're going to get.
Okay, I like it. I like
I'm
it.
not-
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So
It's just a human thing to do, right?
Yeah,
Yes,
it really is.
Yes.
Jen Pisano asked a question. This is what she wants to work on. What's the best way to organize the sequence? She has a fear of out of sight, out of mind. Do you have a system for updating, reviewing, and creating each of your sequences? I think your templates, maybe? Is that what we're looking at?
Yeah, I've only got one template so far. Welcome email template. So it's only for one email. Working on a few more of those. Yeah.
Well, you have that template.
The best way to organize.
You also have a welcome sequence course, right, Jeff?
Okay. Yeah, I do have a course.
Right.
Yeah. But one of the things I teach in there is, like I said earlier on, right? Like it depends. There are really truly no cookie cutters when it comes to welcome sequences. And this is one of the things I learned early on. One of the reasons that I started to develop my own unique philosophy on welcome sequences is because I did follow canned templates for a while, and they didn't work.
They don't work.
Like they just didn't work for my business.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily that they don't work. It's just that one didn't work for my business. And that's what was not communicated well, is that I was trying to use a sequence that was not designed for what I was doing. Like, okay, for example, it was a kind of a traditional 5 email sequence, problem solution, paradigm shift, overcome objection, testimony, like just that kind of stuff. And I think it's probably worked for some people, but I tried using it for an e-commerce brand, and it didn't work. I mean, it literally like sold nothing. And so it really got me to start thinking about what would make that sequence work. Yeah. And that's when I started having more in-depth conversations with people about, like, what does your sales process look like? Who are your clients? Where are you trying to, like, what are you trying to offer them? If it's an $8,000 product versus a $40 product, we got to take a totally different approach.
Yeah.
There's a lot more trust that needs to happen. There's a lot more that needs to be said in order to get somebody ready to go on that $8,000 product versus something that might be an impulse buy.
Right. So to make go finish your thought, please, because then I have a really important question.
Well, I was going to say, so the main thing, and this is where it's about as concrete as I can get right now. There still might be some ambiguity to it, but the main thing is that you just need to make sure with your welcome sequence that you're leading with tons of value, that you're focusing on earning trust before you ever ask somebody to buy from you, and that when you present your offer, that it is the very next logical step in the journey for somebody. So in order to do that, you have to consider where they came from and where you're leading them. So if somebody downloaded my email marketing checklist, to me that tells me that they're trying to get started with email marketing because it's not something that they've really done before. So they just need a checklist to kind of help them.
Or they think they suck at email marketing.
Right? Yeah. So the next logical step in the journey for them, I always tell people the first place to start is your welcome sequence. So the next logical step when it comes to what I offer for them is my masterclass. My welcome sequence is masterclass. Okay. You downloaded my checklist. Now, if you're ready to start implementing it and actually doing email marketing, my masterclass is going to teach you how to write your welcome sequence, which is the very first place that you need to begin. So it's really all about kind of positioning your product as the next logical step in the journey. So that's really kind of, those are the key things: lead with value, earn trust, and position your offer as the logical next step. And that, that could take 5 emails, it could take 10 emails. It just really kind of depends on who your audience is, how ready they are to buy, and how much they know and recognize you. So like Lucas, you talked about Justin Welsh earlier. There's so much trust that comes with a name like Justin Welsh,
Right.
that if he's selling a $1,500 coaching package, he doesn't really need to try that hard.
Right.
I mean, I know that there's still an element of like good writing and and strategy, but like he doesn't have to try as hard as I do to convince somebody, because there's so much trust associated with that. So there's a lot of things that you really have to think through, and why I decided to start taking a more custom approach to these welcome sequences.
I love it. So we've given away your free email checklist, and we're going to get some people on Humans sending emails, which is just a fantastic brand. What do you have that people can buy? So you've mentioned a couple of things, but we don't know how much they cost. And so would you run down your list of things that people can do to give you their money, please?
Jeff, give me all your money.
Yeah.
No, he's smiling because he knows that that's always a loaded question for an entrepreneur, right?
Yeah.
Well, I saw
actually,
a video
I've
where
made
you
it-
said,
Yeah.
I have something and it's just a few dollars. And so I want you to, how can someone engage with you just to get a little taste, right? Just a little bit of the crack? Or like, what if somebody's all in and they're like, I want to delegate this to you? How do they do that? And what are the ranges of fees for that type of investment for those types of things?
Sure. Yeah. I appreciate that question. So yeah, you can get started for $17. I have a welcome email template that is $17. Lucas has that template. I don't know if he's used it yet.
It's
but
actually open on my
it's,
desktop right now.
Lucas,
Yeah.
put the
Yeah.
link to that, please. Please, please, please. Let's get Jeff some cash money today.
So that's really the first kind of the starting point. Again, like I kind of branded myself last year as the welcome sequences guy, because it was because I have kind of a unique philosophy about it, but also because I believe it's the place that most people need to begin when they start email marketing. Just start there, right? And the welcome email is the very first email in the welcome sequence. It's the first impression. It's the first date, like you were talking about, Honore, that you have with new subscribers. 85% of people who opt in are going to read your welcome email. It's a big, big opportunity to go ahead and set the tone, and kind of start things off on the right foot, so you can get to date number 2 and 3 and 4 and so on. So that's just $17. The next logical step up from there is my welcome sequences masterclass. I'll teach you how to write, kind of think through and build out your own welcome sequence strategy. So think, from the welcome email through the rest of that sequence. So that's $97. I think if you bundle that with the template, you can get them both for $97 or something. So that's what I have there. I'm working on some templates for the entire sequence, which Jen, in relation to your earlier question, I'm trying to think through. I haven't quite gotten this far yet. I'm trying to think through some templates that could be, more repeatable for people. I want to do that very carefully, which is why I'm hesitating to launch it, because I want to make sure that it's done well, that it's not some canned cookie cutter crap that doesn't work for anybody. So that's coming down the road. More templates are coming down the road. Also, looking at launching a cohort soon, kind of a workshop model to build lead magnets and welcome sequences. That will probably be launching in May. And then I do have some high ticket services. I can work with you to develop a full strategy for your email marketing. Lucas can tell you a little bit about that. That's what we did. And then beyond that, I can write welcome sequences for you. Most of the people I work with are capable of writing themselves. They like to write. they have a pretty solid social presence. They like writing on social media. They just don't really know where to start when it comes to email marketing. So that's where the strategy comes into play, of, you know, just helping to, you know, kind of point people in the right direction and tell them what they need to be writing. But if you don't like writing, you know, I can also do the copywriting as well. So.
And where does that start?
That's it.
Where do those services start for the high ticket?
Yeah, the roadmap is 1950, and the welcome sequence copy is about 2200.
Okay, very reasonable.
Oh, exceptionally reasonable. I mean, it was funny because when I met Jeff, I didn't have Jeff as a referral. He was a network connection that I had made, and I wasn't sure exactly what the experience would be like because we'd only known each other over Twitter basically at that point. So
I wasn't even getting on the call with you, by the way, to sell you on it. Like, I was getting on just to meet you, by the way.
The poor guy.
I don't know if I ever told you that.
Yeah, I totally ran him over. I was like, hey, when can you start? He's like, what are you talking about? I thought we're just going to get to know each other.
Well, he said, yeah, tell me about what you offer. And I showed it to him, ran through, you know, kind of my little pitch. And he said, yeah, I'll take one.
Yeah.
I was like, okay. Well, let me look at my calendar.
Yeah. And absolutely worth every minute we spent together and every dollar spent. So Jeff's product is more than just a product. It's an experience. We had great sessions together. He's not one of those service professionals who's like, oh yeah, no, I really care about you. And I can't wait to work with you. And then you're like, cool, when can we meet? And they're like, my calendar doesn't open up for 3 months, you know, or when you meet, it's like,
I'm right here. I can hear you, Lucas.
You're a different type of project. Let's just say. No, it was unique because not only was he as excited about the project as I was, but he could sense that I was in need of certain handling, right? I mean, I think that's a really good sign of someone that's good with service type work, is that you can understand that certain people work with certain people certain ways. And he very easily fit right into like, hey, I can tell you're the kind of guy that's going to want to hash out the details. And so we went through everything.
I can tell you're a doctor and you're going to be high maintenance and have all the questions and make you crazy.
Now I'm paraphrasing. He didn't say that, but I could see it on his face.
We did hash out the details though. I mean, what, like our 2-hour strategy session ended up being 3.5, I think.
And I'm just telling you, he never said, dude, you know, you're really putting me in a bad spot here. He was very good about, because, you know, as an entrepreneur, you can dive as deep as anyone in any question. And you ask someone 1 out of 100 questions, and you got 100 questions to get through. There was a lot of work. I'm not saying it was exactly 100, but we had a lot of questions to work through. And that is a testament to the thoroughness of Jeff's approach. He did not skim the pool with me and then be like, thanks for the 1950 or 1995 or whatever it was. Have a good life. He took a very deep dive into my project. He gave me very detailed feedback and direction. He gave me a tangible product that I could walk away with and that I have constantly refer to in the development of my stuff. It wasn't just like, well, you had an hour, now that hour is done, see ya. And then we obviously stayed in contact after that. So all of that to me was like arrows pointing toward high quality service type relationship.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, like
I think we can be a gateway drug for Jeff.
Yeah.
I can think of 3 people off I mean that in a good way, Jeff. It means like we're a conduit to new business.
Yeah.
I totally understand.
He's like, I just got out of rehab, man.
Like, wait a minute. I'm not going to jail. there's no drugs. There's no drugs.
Oh, that's good.
I can think of 3 clients right off the bat that are total white glove people that are like, right. I don't do these things, Honore. Like I've done books with them, right? They would totally benefit from someone coming in, understanding what they're doing, and then carrying the baton. So I will look forward to having an offline conversation with you very soon.
Yeah. And this is honestly a testament to Jeff as a professional too, because I tried to push him into another world. I'm like, hey, how do you feel about this stuff? And he's like, you know, I really do this. And this is what I specialize in. And this is what I prefer to serve. Like if I'm going to serve. And I was like, dude, thank you for that. Cause there's a lot of people out there that aren't mature enough yet as service providers that would be like, any yes is a yes. Right. Like, but he was very good in saying, I really think that this is the best way to serve your project. And I really appreciated that. And that's why I've been referring him for specifically what he did for me to other people. And yeah, Jeff, I'm sorry if your email's been a little crazy because of that. Like,
I appreciate that.
you need to talk to this guy. You need to talk to this guy. You need to talk to this guy. So Jeff, I've shared a bunch of links, but can you verbalize where people can find you? What's the best way to interact with you, find out more about what you're doing?
Look, follow me on Twitter or LinkedIn. I teach everything I know there. I mean, I literally, like, I'm going to show you, I've shown people the inside. I don't think I've shown people the inside of your roadmap, Lucas, but like I've showed people, like,
Go for it.
you know, this is what I do. This is how I do it. So, you know, every time, you know, I'm kind of because here's the thing, when you really focus on one thing, like I focus on welcome sequences and I guess email strategy for service-based brands. When you really focus down on that, you know, not only do you become known for that one thing, you become really good at it, right? And so, like, you know, and I'm not saying like I'm not like bragging there, but what I'm saying is, like, all I think about is that. Constantly thinking about, like, new ways to teach this, new ways to talk about this. How can I say this thing 100 different ways, you know? So, you know, I'm constantly teaching everything I know on these platforms. Just trying to help people kind of get their own wins with this stuff.
That's awesome.
So follow along. You're gonna get some good information.
Awesome.
Excellent.
Well, we have taken up an hour and 1 minute and 10 seconds of your time. Like it was a blip so fast. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming here, for putting up with us and our ridiculosity, and for answering our questions. We really appreciate it. We appreciate you just making the time and being such a wealth of value and knowledge for our people, and for getting people who don't care about us any other time to come and watch our show.
You had great numbers, by the way, Jeff.
Yeah.
What's that?
Said you had great numbers. I can see the viewer numbers, but I'm still gonna. I think we should all just team up to go after Matt after this. He better have a really good reason for not saying something in the chat.
Yeah.
Matt.
Yeah. He probably blew it off. He's like, I'll watch the replay. Whatever. It's fine.
Oh, and we did get 2 comments from Helen, by the way. It was a thank you. This is very informative and brilliant. Thanks. So we can't get away, by the way, Jeff, without saying hello to her.
She's British. She's British. So that's excitable. Like when she was like, brilliant, thanks. That's like me sending 10 exclamation points. But she's British. So she's like, you know, wave, touch the pearls, very queen-like.
Yes. I can't see her type the word brilliant.
I hate you both.
Hearing her exclaim brilliant. She can't just say the word brilliant. She's like, brilliant. Like that's brilliant.
Like the old Guinness commercials.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
Big fan. Wait.
I still hate you.
I'm losing. I like how she signed it. She'll sign it so we know exactly.
Yeah.
By the way, I hate you and my name is Helen. Okay. All right. No.
Do you say no with all the O's exactly like you say hello with all the O's? Does that work as well?
I think she says no.
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 She destroys me over my terrible impression of a British accent. And I think it angers her that I
can't do it either.
I spent 2 months there and I still can't do it. I'm not refined. That's what
when you guys said hello, all I thought was Seinfeld.
Yeah, exactly.
So I don't know if you're going for British, but that's what I thought of. Yeah. Hello.
We hate you too, Helen. Yes. We hate you too.
We drag our friends through the mud, don't we?
That's right. That's right.
Well, Jeff, thank you so much for all your help today, sir.
Yes.
Honore.
Yes.
As
sir?
Always.
Sir, we still did nothing we were going to do. Like, this is our channel and this is what we're doing. So
oh, yeah.
Maybe next time. Maybe next time. It might happen next time. You'll have to watch. If you're watching and you don't know what I'm talking about, it's because we didn't do it and we might do it next time. But you don't know. You have to tune in and see. You
have to see. There's a big emblem
also,
next to your head.
There's right. This is what we're doing right here. And am I pointing to it for real?
Yep. Yeah, right. Perfect. Okay, just like that.
All right, perfect. So it's like right there. Also, we're about to have really awesome new welcome/nurture sequences. So you're going to want to sign up to what we're doing after you've signed up to Jeff's. And then we're also going to ask Jeff to not sign up for our nurture sequences because I'm nervous. Like he's going to be like, what is this shit?
I'm going to take notes.
What is this, Honore? Did we not have an hour-long discussion? Yeah, I know. I'm going to get the emoji reply, and it's going to be the mad face, like the really mad one.
The little cuss words over the mouth.
Yeah, the cuss words over the mouth emoji. Here's how I feel. Cuss words emoji. All right. Thanks, Jeff.
Don't hang up. Fine.
Okay.
All right, guys, we'll see you. Oh, wait, hold on. We do have an important message. We will not see you next week.
No, we won't.
We will see you 2 weeks from now because we have a live event that we're attending next week that will take us out of live streaming world at noon next Thursday. So come back 2 Thursdays from now at our regular bat time of noon Eastern. I'm trying to frantically look for a calendar to tell you that it's the 4th of May when that will happen. So we'll see you guys May 4th, Thursday at noon. And we hope everyone has a successful and healthy week. We'll see you guys later.
Bye, everybody.